Welcome back, friend. You have found the quiet place again. Whatever today asked of you, it is finished asking. You answered what you could, and that was enough. The rest belongs to the night now. Let yourself sink into the bed. Feel the blanket settle over you like a covering wing. Loosen your jaw. Let your hands rest open. Take one slow breath in, and let it out, long and soft, like rain easing off a roof at the end of a storm. Tonight I want to tell you one of the gentlest stories ever written. No giants fall in it. No seas part. It is a story about two women on an empty road, and a barley field, and small kindnesses that quietly change everything. If you drift before it ends, drift. This story would be glad to watch you sleep. This is the story of Ruth. Long ago, in the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land of Israel. And a man of Bethlehem, the house of bread, with no bread in it, took his wife and his 2 sons and went to live in the country of Moab, on the far side of the Salt Sea. His wife's name was Naomi, which means, pleasant. And for a while, life was pleasant enough. Her sons grew, and married women of Moab, one named Orpah, and one named Ruth. 10 years passed in that foreign country, quiet as rain. And then sorrow came to Naomi's door, and came again, and again. Her husband died. And then both of her sons died. And she was left alone in a strange land, an aging widow with 2 young widows beside her, and no family, and no field, and no way to live. Hold Naomi gently in your mind for a moment, friend. Perhaps you know this place, when loss piles on loss until you can hardly remember your own name, meaning pleasant. The old book does not rush past her grief, and neither will we. This story begins in the dark. The best ones often do. Word came over the hills that the famine in Israel had ended, that the Lord had visited his people and given them bread. And Naomi rose up to go home. The long road back to Bethlehem, with nothing to show for the years but grief. Her daughters-in-law walked out with her. And on the road, Naomi stopped, and did an unselfish thing. Go back, she told them. Return each of you to your mother's house. You are young. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead, and with me. May you find rest, each of you, in the house of a new husband. And she kissed them, and they all wept aloud. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, and turned back toward Moab, and no one blames her, it was the sensible road. But Ruth would not let go. The old book says it simply, Ruth clave unto her. And there, on an empty road between 2 countries, Ruth spoke some of the most beautiful words ever spoken by one person to another. Entreat me not to leave you, or to return from following after you. For where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. Nothing but death itself, she said, will ever part me from you. Breathe those words in slowly. This is love with its sleeves rolled up, not a feeling, but a decision. A young widow, binding her whole life to a bitter, empty-handed old woman, on the road to a town where she would be a foreigner. No prospects. No plan. Just, where you go, I will go. And when Naomi saw that Ruth was steadfastly minded to go with her, she stopped urging. And the two women walked on together, through the hills, around the sea, up the long road to Bethlehem, arriving with nothing, at the beginning of the barley harvest. At the beginning of the barley harvest. The old book drops that detail like a seed into soil. They arrived empty, exactly as the fields were filling. Now in Bethlehem there lived a man named Boaz, a mighty man of wealth, a kinsman of Naomi's late husband. Remember his name, and rest easy, this is a kind man's story now. There was a law in Israel, a gentle law: when you reaped your field, you were not to reap the corners, nor gather what the reapers dropped. The fallen stalks belonged to the poor, the widow, the stranger. Gleaning, it was called. Mercy, built into the harvest itself. So Ruth said to Naomi, "Let me now go to the field, and glean ears of corn behind anyone in whose sight I shall find grace." And Naomi said, "Go, my daughter." And Ruth went, and her hap, says the old book, was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz. Her hap. Her chance. The story smiles as it says it, because nothing in this story is chance. Picture the field in the morning light, as your body grows heavier. Gold barley leaning in the wind. Reapers moving in slow rows, singing to keep time. And behind them, at a humble distance, a young foreign widow, stooping and gathering, stalk by stalk, under the wide sky. And Boaz came from Bethlehem, and greeted his reapers, "The Lord be with you." And they answered him, "The Lord bless thee." You can tell everything about a man by how his workers answer him. Then his eye found the stranger. "Whose damsel is this?" he asked. And his foreman told him, "It is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi. She asked leave to glean, and she has continued from the morning until now." Her story had walked ahead of her. All Bethlehem knew what she had done for her mother-in-law. And Boaz went to Ruth and spoke gently. "Hear me, my daughter. Do not go to glean in another field. Stay here, close by my maidens. I have charged the young men not to trouble you. And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels, and drink of what the young men have drawn." And Ruth fell on her face and asked, "Why have I found grace in your eyes, seeing I am a stranger?" And Boaz answered, "It has fully been shown me, all that you have done for your mother-in-law, how you left your father and mother and the land of your birth, and came to a people you did not know. The Lord recompense your work, and a full reward be given you of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings you are come to trust." Under whose wings? Hold that picture, friend, as sleep comes closer. A hen gathering chicks under her feathers in the evening. That is where this story says Ruth had come to shelter, and where you are sheltering tonight, whether you can feel the feathers or not. At mealtime Boaz called her to sit with the reapers, and passed her parched corn, and she ate, and was sufficed, and left. And when she rose again to glean, he quietly told his young men, "Let her glean even among the sheaves. And let fall also some handfuls on purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them." Handfuls on purpose. Dropped quietly, so she would find them and never know they were a gift. That may be the loveliest phrase in the whole old book. So much of what has carried you, friend, was handfuls on purpose, kindness arranged in advance, left lying in your path, looking like luck. Stay in that field through the afternoon, as your thoughts grow slow. The sun leaning westward over the barley. The rhythm of the work, stoop, gather, straighten, step, as old as hunger and as honest as bread. The reaper's song drifting up and down the rows. Swallows stitching the air above the sheaves. And through it all, scattered in Ruth's path like small quiet miracles, the handfuls on purpose, waiting to be found. There is a healing that only comes this way, through simple work, done outdoors, one row at a time, while the heart mends without being watched. Ruth had buried a husband. Naomi had buried everyone. And the field asked nothing of either of them but the next stalk, and the next, and paid them in bread and sunlight. Some seasons, friend, that is what grace looks like, not an answer, but a field to walk, and enough for today in your arms by evening. That evening Ruth beat out what she had gleaned, an ephah of barley, a whole armful of abundance, and carried it home through the cooling lanes of Bethlehem, past doorways where supper smoke rose and children were being called in from the dusk. And when Naomi saw the sheer weight of what one day had given, something lit in her that had been dark a long time. "Where did you glean today? Blessed be the one who took knowledge of you." And Ruth said, "The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz." And Naomi's breath caught. "Blessed be he of the Lord," she said, "who has not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. The man is near of kin unto us, one of our redeemers." A redeemer. In Israel there was another gentle law: if a family fell into ruin, the nearest kinsman had the right to step in, to buy back the land, to carry the name, to marry the widow and raise up the family line. They called him the kinsman redeemer. Not a stranger's charity. Family, doing what family does. So through the barley harvest and the wheat harvest, Ruth gleaned in the fields of Boaz, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Day after golden day. Weeks of them. The two widows' house filled slowly with grain and with something rarer, routine. The blessed ordinariness of days that repeat, the early walk to the field, the greeting of the maidens who were strangers once and now saved her a place, the midday bread in the shade, the evening weighing of the gleanings, the lamplit suppers with Naomi, who asked about everything and had begun, cautiously, to laugh again. And surely, on some of those evenings, the two women talked of the ones they had lost, for grief does not end when hope begins, they keep house together for a long while. But the telling grew gentler as the weeks passed, the way a path grows soft with walking. That is how healing mostly comes, friend, not as a lightning stroke, but as a harvest, slowly, daily, in company, until one evening you notice the house is full and the worst is somehow behind you. And the two women, who had come home with nothing, ate bread every evening, and hope, which had died in Moab, put out its first green shoots. When the harvest ended, Naomi, an old woman becoming herself again, made a plan. "My daughter," she said, "shall I not seek rest for you, that it may be well with you? Boaz winnows barley tonight at the threshing floor. Wash yourself, and put on your best garment, and go down." And Ruth said, "All that you say unto me, I will do." Picture the threshing floor first, so the scene can hold you. A wide circle of beaten earth on the hill outside the town, where the harvest was winnowed in the evening wind, grain tossed golden into the air, the chaff drifting away, the good kernels falling home. By nightfall the work was done, and the winnowers ate and drank and slept beside their heaps, under the open sky, guarding the year's wealth. Fires burned low. The town's lamps went out one by one below. And over it all, the enormous harvest moon, and the quiet. That night, on the threshing floor, when the work was done and Boaz lay down to sleep beside his grain, Ruth came softly through the dark and lay down at his feet, as the custom was, and waited. And at midnight the man was startled, and turned, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. "Who are you?" he said. And she answered, "I am Ruth, your handmaid. Spread therefore your skirt over your handmaid, cover me with your wing, for you are a near kinsman." She was asking him to be the Redeemer. And Boaz, listen to how an honorable heart answers, said, "Blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter. You have shown more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. Fear not. I will do to you all that you require. For all the city of my people knows that you are a virtuous woman." But, and here the story holds its breath, there is a kinsman nearer than I. If he will redeem you, well. If not, then, as the Lord lives, I will. Lie down until the morning. And before dawn he filled her veil with 6 measures of barley. Go not empty unto your mother-in-law, and sent her home under the fading stars. And Naomi, wise old Naomi, said the perfect thing, "Sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will fall. For the man will not rest until he has finished the thing this day. Sit still." The waiting was over, the working was his now. Sometimes love means moving heaven and earth, and sometimes it means sitting quietly while someone who loves you moves it for you. And Boaz went up to the gate of the city, where all matters were settled, and sat down. And behold, the nearer kinsman came by. And before 10 elders of the city, Boaz laid out the matter, Naomi's field, and the widow that came with it. The nearer kinsman weighed it, and shook his head, it would mar his own inheritance, and drew off his shoe, as the custom was, and gave up his right. And Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "You are witnesses this day. I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and Ruth the Moabitess have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance." And all the people at the gate said, "We are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah." So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. The foreign widow who had walked into Bethlehem with nothing became the beloved of the best man in it. The gleaner in the corners of the field became the lady of the field itself. And the Lord gave her a son. And the women of the town came to old Naomi, whose lap now held a grandchild, and said, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a redeemer. He shall be to you a restorer of your life, and a nourisher of your old age, for your daughter-in-law, which loves you, which is better to you than 7 sons, has borne him." Better than 7 sons. That was Ruth's title, in the end, not queen, not prophetess. Simply, the one who loved, and would not let go. And they named the child Obed. And Obed grew, and had a son named Jesse. And Jesse had 8 sons, and the youngest of them was a shepherd boy named David. Yes, that David. The boy of the still waters, the singer under the stars, the king. Ruth the foreigner, the widow on the empty road, was his great-grandmother. Every psalm you have ever loved has her faithfulness folded quietly inside it. So that is where we leave them, friend. A full house in Bethlehem. Grain in the storehouse and bread on the table. An old woman rocking a baby she never dreamed she would hold, in the town whose name means house of bread, with no one hungry anymore. No sea parted in this story. No giant fell. Just an ordinary chain of faithful days, a promise on a road, a morning of gleaning, handfuls dropped on purpose, a kind man at a city gate. And through those small links, heaven quietly rebuilt 2 broken lives, and set the table for a king. That is how most redemption arrives, friend. Not with trumpets. With barley. With someone who stays. With small kindnesses laid in your path while you were only trying to get through the day. Your life is being woven with that same patient thread, even on the nights you cannot see the pattern. So let your body rest now, heavy and warm, like a sheaf gathered in at evening. The gleaning is done for today. What you gathered was enough. What you missed, mercy will drop in your path tomorrow, handfuls on purpose, with your name on them. Breathe in, slowly, and out, more slowly still. In, like a field taking the evening rain. Out, like the wind laying the barley down to rest. Before we say good night, let us walk back through the story one last time, softly, the way you walk a field path at dusk, letting the lamps of the town come on one by one behind you. 2 women on an empty road, and a love that would not turn back. Where you go, I will go. Let that lamp glow a moment, it is the heart of everything, and then let it soften. The road home to Bethlehem, arriving with nothing, at the beginning of the barley harvest. Empty hands, filling fields. Dim that lamp gently. The morning in the field, the reapers singing, the stranger gleaning, and a good man asking, "Whose damsel is this? Under whose wings you are come to trust?" Let that one fade like warmth off the evening ground. The handfuls on purpose, dropped in her path. The armful of barley carried home. hope putting out its green shoots. Turn that lamp low, and keep the picture. The threshing floor at midnight, cover me with your wing, and honor answering kindness. Sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will fall. Let it dim, slow as the stars fading. The city gate in the morning, the shoe drawn off, the witnesses, the wedding. The gleaner become beloved. Down goes that lamp, warm and gold. And the last picture of all, old Naomi, whose name means pleasant, pleasant at last again, rocking a baby by lamplight, and far down the years, a shepherd boy with a harp, singing beside still waters, because once a young widow refused to let go. Leave that lamp burning, very low, all night. It is the night light of this whole story. There. The house of bread is dark and quiet now, and everyone in it is fed, and safe, and home. The field lies resting under the stars. The grain sleeps in the barn. The rain falls soft on the stubble, keeping its old promise to the seed. And you, friend, in your own bed, inside your own slow-woven story, you are loved with the Ruth kind of love, the kind that stays. The wings you cannot see are spread over you tonight. The handfuls are already lying in tomorrow's path. Your breathing is slow now, slow as a harvest evening. There is nothing left to glean tonight. Let the last thoughts fall where they fall, mercy will gather what matters, and the rest can lie in the field. The night is deep and kind. The story is true. And the ones who stay, they are the strength of the world, and one of them is watching over you. Sleep now, friend. Like grain in the barn. Like a child in Naomi's lap. Like Ruth, home at last, under the wide wing. Good night. Sleep deep. The morning, like the harvest, will come in its own good time.